Morning, y'all. Once again, this is Coach Hussein with Fight Camp Eternal. And it's not really easy or comforting what I'm about to say, but I want to be as authentic as possible with what I'm about to say. I went on a rant about a week ago speaking about the importance of authenticity. And I just got finished watching a poem/speech given by the late Malcolm-Jamal Warner. To Allah you belong and to Allah you will return. And it stressed the importance of authenticity. You can't fake authenticity. You can't fake who you are, and you shouldn't fake who you are. Okay? How you function in the world is how you function in the world, and you shouldn't hide yourself or suppress yourself as a result of who you are and how you choose to be. Now, this isn't a complete advocation of people and how they choose to be in the world. Okay? But what I am saying is, don't fake the funk, basically. Malcolm talked about how it's important that you don't hide yourself for the comfort of other people. And that resonated with me a lot because, for the better part of my life, I've actually done that, unfortunately. And I can't pinpoint when that happened in my life, that I started doing that. But I can say that it's not a comfortable feeling. I never I'll give you a scenario. I will know that I will have to face someone or face a situation, and pretty much when we talk about facing situations, we're talking about people, okay, for the most part. Most of our dealings are interpersonal, okay? And I would know what I would have to do. I would know the situation I'm facing, know how I have to respond. And when it came time to facing it, to doing what I needed to do, I didn't do it. I would actually just cower. Okay? And afterward, I would really have I would just grab myself up why you act like that? You knew what you were supposed to do. You knew what you should have said. You basically planned everything out. And you didn't stick to the script. Authenticity demands that you face life. Okay? Another thing authenticity demands that you do is, and this is just me speaking, okay, but it might resonate with some of y'all out there. It forces you to deal with trauma. I have, for the better part of my life, believed that I would be punished for basically standing up for myself. Okay? If someone wronged me or said something to me or did anything that they knew was wrong, that I knew was wrong, forget them, because people don't believe that they're wrong in what they're doing, because otherwise they wouldn't do it. But then again, that's just the nature of human beings. It's an erroneous belief that I have. The lie that we believe to be true, where we see something happen, and because confirmation bias, our own personal lived experiences, we believe it to be true. For example, I believe that I get punished for basically standing up for myself and doing the right thing. In particular, when it came to me personally, I get grounded up and people tell me you should have did X, Y, Z, or you went overboard or you did too much. It's like, I used to believe that, I understand where they're coming from, but then it's like, no, what they got is what they deserve. Let's segue this into fighting, okay? When you're in a fight, you're going to do whatever is necessary to prevent your opponent, the ops, whatever terminology y'all want to use, from being capable of fighting back, okay? Like, one of the things I love about MMA is, for the most part, those guys are just straight up allowed to fight. You can see the same thing in boxing, but in MMA, the official will basically just let a guy wail on the other opponent until it's clearly evident that the guy that's getting his face punched in can't fight back anymore. Okay, there's a lot more technical knockouts victories in UFC that I've seen, more so than there are knockouts or submissions. Okay, but the point that I'm making is you gotta render your opponent incapable of fighting back. Okay, how does this relate to authenticity? Because if you're not being authentically you, if you're not living how you know you need to live, you're only jeopardizing yourself, you're only damaging yourself, you're only hurting yourself. Okay? It's never a comfortable feeling to look back on a situation and get mad at the fact that you know you didn't respond accordingly or that you didn't act accordingly, especially when you knew you should have. Okay? And this isn't just about fighting, this is just about simply facing situations that you know you need to face. Okay? Dealing with people that you know you need to deal with in a manner in which they need to be dealt with. Okay? And that's an important thing. Because, and then also not even just that, it's just about knowing that you are a particular way and not being ashamed of living that way. Okay? And Malcolm touched on this, Malcolm-Jamal Warner touched on this, how in the black community being vulnerable is seen as weakness. But if you're authentic, there are times where you're going to end up being or displaying vulnerability. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be you. And if being vulnerable means that's how you are, that's who you are, don't be ashamed of that. Like, you should never be ashamed of being you. Being ashamed of being yourself is like being ashamed of the fact that God made you. Okay? And if you're an atheist, that's like being ashamed of the fact that you exist. Okay? Because we all know one way or another, we were brought into existence. Okay? Why would you be ashamed of existing? Now, once again, this is not an advocation for how everyone lives. Okay? Because some people live in a manner which is like, nah, that ain't cool. You shouldn't be living like that. Okay? Y'all can take that any way you want. But to live life being afraid to live, let me repeat that, living life being afraid to live, it's like you're making yourself uncomfortable because people don't like how you function, people don't like how you are, people don't like how you dress or how you appear, all these types of things. Okay, so the truth of the matter is you need to just live. Okay, and you can't live and not be authentic. Like, life demands authenticity, and no one, I don't care who you are, likes being around people who are fake, who are fraudulent. Okay, no one likes that. So if you take nothing else from this video, be you. Okay, that's really all you need to be. Just be you. Damn whoever got a problem with it. And you know, I'm gonna end it like this: as let God sort them out. All right, seriously, let God sort them out. Okay, because you are a created being like everyone else is a created being. You have a right to live like everyone else has a right to live. Okay, just because people don't agree with how you live doesn't necessarily mean you can't live. Okay, but living authentically. And I'm glad I mentioned God, because we don't mention God enough. We like to ignore God or keep God out of the equation, keep God out of our lives. You can't really and truly live authentically if you don't remember God. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go there. All right, because we need that remembrance of the Creator. Okay, and me as a Muslim first and foremost, and I touched on this when I went on my rant on social media in my stories. Like, how can I live authentically and not live Islamically? That don't go together. Okay? Like, you can't know that you were created by God and live a life that is devoid of the remembrance of God. You can't live like that. Okay? So, but that's my main message. Okay, be authentic, be you. Don't concern yourself with how people see you or how they feel about you, and because they're going through the same things too. They've gone through it. Maybe not to the same extent as you, but they've gone through it one way or another. All of our experiences, for the most part, are shared experiences. Okay, that's my message. I'm gonna continue my morning stroll because I need to work this fat off. I'm not a fat guy. I'm skinny fat. This gut ain't going nowhere because my diet is not how it should be. So that's the reason I'm going on this walk. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Until then, take care of yourselves, and as always, train daily.